Today is the first day back at the store since I closed almost 2 months ago due to COVID-19. We've put some measures up, we've taken precautions, I've got the store ready, I've redecorated, and I am excited to show people how the store looks and some of the changes that we've made. But I'm nervous on the other hand because, well, this is the first time I've been out and had the store open. It's so different. Back in October when we reopened at the new location, I wanted the whole world to come through and I wanted lots of crowds. And it's the exact opposite right now. I just want steady, controlled, respectful business. So I didn't advertise and I didn't do anything special, which as a promoter and entrepreneur normally you do. Much different times. So we'll see how the day goes. As I'm leaving right now, I have no idea what's going to happen today. Whether customers are going to come through or not, we shall see. You also might have noticed that I picked up a new car along the way. Now this isn't a replacement for the Cadillac. This is a replacement for the Isetta that I sold. The Isetta was worth more than this little Buick, and with some of the proceeds, some of the profit, we ended up buying the Buick. So it shouldn't take away from any of our funds that are going to go towards hopefully that foundation soon. But I see Dave's working away. Let's go check and see how he's coming along with that sign. Well, good morning, Dave.
How we doing?
Doing good. You're back at it.
I am. 57?
56.
Where did you find that?
I found it out by my mother-in-law's place out at the farm.
Boy, that's a peach.
Yeah. So what is Mr. Ace Fine Lines doing today?
Well, we're going to finish off, weather permitting. Hopefully no wind, no rain. And then we're going to dig up a rose bush.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I dug the other one out the other day. I see you've got it almost out.
Yeah, I've got a special shovel there too.
Dave's wife is quite into plants, has quite a green thumb, and she really wanted to try and save this little Hanson rose bush here, the smaller one, so I gave it to them. Hopefully you guys can get it out of there. Nice to see it go to a home.
Exactly right.
Well, the sign's looking good, so you've got some lettering to do up top. It looks like the bottle.
Yep, we have to finish off the highlights on the bottle and do that manic looking little page guy.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm going to get my store opening hours up on my door because today is the day. For the door, I am going the way of the window decals. Now, sadly, this is kind of the thing that put guys like Dave out of business. I don't use these unless absolutely necessary, and to get him to hand paint each and every letter would be very time consuming. So we're gonna do a little transfer on the door here. There we go. Good as new. Well, that's it. We're open. Now it's just a waiting game to see if anyone's interested in coming through. Already got a couple customers in the back looking at records. We'll see what kind of day today is. Okay, well, I knew it'd only be a matter of time until you guys came in. You're looking very Hawaiian. I've got directional arrows, so you gotta come all the way around. Long time no see, Todd. And I was commenting that I like your shirt that you're rocking there. It's like looking into a mirror. If you stand in front of the store at the right angle, I could, it's like I'd be looking through you. People might think that you have a hole in your chest. Ah, what happened? Yeah, except now the car out front has changed a little bit. What do you think, Bob? You saw my new ride out front?
Oh my word, that's a gorgeous Buick.
I felt like I needed something. I needed to feel driving that car how you look today. Tropical.
Oh yeah, this is my car. Sure.
Yeah, but is there a 56 Buick on it somewhere? No, it's Cadillac. There's Cadillac, a Porsche. Yeah, Buick didn't make the cut, but that's okay.
So it's my Route 88 shirt.
I'll take a picture of my car and I'll glue it to your back. No any different. So what have you been up to the last couple months?
Well, I'll be shooting my own videos. Of course, everything's shut down, so it's hard to get into the cool places. But
you've been going traveling around though, and
I've been always looking for more bottles.
That's right.
Got into another pick yesterday, so yeah, keep it busy that way.
Well, that's good. And you're still working, driving your Chromeo truck around?
Yeah, working, doing some artwork while sitting around at home.
Well, it's nice to have some regular faces come back through. It's been steady, but the right kind of steady today, where people have just been filtering through. They've been keeping their distance. So my hesitation from earlier today has kind of passed by. I haven't checked on Dave outside yet to see how that Coke sign's coming along. I'm gonna go up front and see how he's doing. Thought it was time for a Dave update. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, the demonic page.
He's up to no good. Well, that's, yeah, I guess they had that crazy looking kid. Like, he's like, buy this. Nothing bad will happen.
Yeah. And the typical, like, 21st century hairdo there is killing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just kind of up the side like a swoosh. I have that sometimes when I wake up in the morning. Sometimes even now. This also marks the inaugural pick with the Buick. I went and bought a train collection, Lionel Trains, the other day, which I've got to pack these indoors. Plus, there's extra parts and tires that I haven't taken out of here yet. So it's going to be a little bit of doing before I can get the space emptied out. I want to recarpet the trunk, possibly later today if I can. I'll stop at a fabric shop and buy some carpeting. But first things first, trains have got to go. Okay, the first box here, this would be probably 1950s Santa Fe passenger cars. You've got the observation car with little windows on the top. So it looks like all three are there. A lot of times they're numbered, so 3152, 3197, 3152. We've got some 50s looking Streamliner passenger cars. Actually, in Canada, Via Rail still uses this type of passenger car. We've got a few little cars that, well, it looks like there's a little bit of corrosion or discoloration on the trucks, the wheels there. That might just clean off. Probably been sitting in boxes for a really long time, judging from how old those boxes are, probably since the 1960s or so. But we'll unpack it and get the stuff out and see what there's to see. Okay, let's look through the old Apple box. These are post-war Lionel. Always nice to get the original box. Same kind of corrosion on those trucks on this too. Now this tender, that's what these are called, it's a tender. 6066T, that's the correct box for that. T stands for tender. If it was a whistle tender, it might say WT. This has the chassis that you probably could have adapted a whistle tender to, but it's not, so it doesn't whistle. But it does have the box, and I'm guessing that's going to be the engine. Nice little Lionel Watchman station. The tin plate normally gets really scratched up. That's still pretty good. The little drop-down barricade there is broken, but that is a replaceable part. I see a crane. Oh, there's all kinds of fun stuff in here. What's this? United States Army Transportation Corps. That's probably more, that's 1950s, I would say, with that plastic body. As small as this is, it still weighs a ton. That's the nice thing about Lionel Trains, is that they are very well built. And even though this one probably hasn't been used in years, I'm guessing it's still gonna run. Okay, there's the engine in the box. Oh yeah, that's got some weight to it. So here we go, a nice heavy die-cast locomotive 2026. The tender goes on the back there. Cast metal. The plastic ones are a little less desirable. You count a train engine based on how many wheels you have. So this would be a 2-6-4 configuration. In terms of locomotives, typically the more wheels, the bigger it is, like a Berkshire or size. A Lionel 700E could be worth thousands of dollars. This is probably worth maybe a couple $100 since it has the box for both the engine and the tender. But there was more in that box, so let's wander over and have a look, see what else is in here. Track is never as exciting. There is some little caboose. That's a pre-war tender. Somebody's painted it one time. Somebody shot it. It's got little BB pellet bullets in it. Somebody was shooting their train off the track at one point. Maybe this was owned by Gomez Adams at one time. He had a Lionel train. Oh, this is heavy. This is very, very heavy. I can tell you it's not the trestle set that it thinks it is, because the trestle set is plastic. That would be really light. Let's see what's... Oh, cool. Okay. That's a 2360 Pennsylvania Electric. This is the slightly more scarce single stripe model. Came out, I think, around 1961 or 62. Looks to be in generally good condition. This is that sort of burgundy paint will polish up, a little bit of car polish on there. That'll come right out. Let's pull this out of the box. This was a pretty substantial locomotive. That wouldn't have been something for kids at the time. This would have been like what your dad bought, you know, or he buys a train and says it's for the kids, but really it's for him. That would have been an expensive thing when it was new, and are fairly collectible even now in terms of old-fashioned trains. That is a style of engine that would have been used around New York, because you wouldn't run an overhead electric line, you know, across state. That wouldn't have been practical. So an electric car like this would have been used in bigger cities. So pretty neat thing, actually. I'm just getting little insulators put back in there as it popped out. I'm missing a couple, these little rubber insulators. But you can imagine if you ran a little wire along your train set and made it look like it was running off the line, that'd be really, really cool. That might have actually hauled the passenger cars, like a little passenger train through New York subway. Pretty neat little set. Okay, and this box appears to be the control switches, some accessories. Actually, that's a Dinky Toy accessory in there. So that's pretty cool. That's Lionel Super O track. That's a little bit higher end than your regular tube track you would have got. They went with this more expensive, realistic looking track that had train ties. Not a lot of people upgraded to that. So more often than not, do you find the old style tube like this. That's what you normally see. That's the cheapy stuff that they gave you with the set. If you upgraded or bought a real expensive set, you might have gotten that. So that's a pretty high quality track from the 50s. And that's a good transformer. That is not the Addams Family style, the ZW that has the handles on both sides, but that is a good transformer. That was not a low-end unit. That was someone who was really into it. That's a KW. Good piece, lots of track in there. Fun stuff. Now, Bob, I know you've been growing your hair out, and I'm not saying this because you need it, but I know you probably don't normally buy hat pins.
No.
Okay, or hair pins or scarf pins. But maybe this one strike your fancy because it comes in a little coffin. This is probably a 1920s hat pin. And for whatever reason, hopefully not because they used them on the deceased, you never know, but it came in a coffin-shaped box. Very interesting design. I hadn't seen one quite like it, but when I saw it, I thought that was cool. Really interesting little thing. Is that morbid enough for Bob, or not quite?
I have seen clothing that was never used, but that was meant for the deceased. So like if a family came and they didn't have, you have to dress up your loved one in something.
Well, they do that for funerals now too, right?
Home
Yeah.
will provide something. So it wouldn't surprise me if that belonged to a funeral home to
dress someone up a little bit.
I don't know. That's a guess.
Well, it's an odd thing. I don't think you'd want to give this to your girlfriend at the time and say, "Hey, I got something for you. Happy anniversary." It's a coffin.
Well, that is a very cool piece.
She probably wouldn't be too thrilled. She'd be like, "Is this a sign of our relationship, of how you feel?" But either way, it's a neat thing. And maybe it's not meant to look like a coffin, but I think it's pretty clearly a coffin-shaped little box. And I think even if it wasn't meant to look like a coffin, that could still give you the heebie-jeebies if you got that from your boyfriend, I think. So far, it's been a good and busy day. We've had lots of kids from the area coming through. My candy counter is getting cleaned out again. And my idea for some of the new foods has been going over very well with the mums and dads too. But I had a couple of cool things come in. One was the trains that you saw, but the other was this. Now, you might look at this and go, well, that's odd. There's a motorcycle, must be a trophy. No, in fact, it's a baton. And if you look very closely at Marlon Brando's motorcycle and the wild one, you'll see that he has the exact same baton in the photograph. Cool piece of early 1950s motorcycle history. If you were part of a motorcycle club at that time, you probably carried one of these. So Johnny had one, you could have one too. Great cool piece of motorcycle history. Well, the sign looks good. That little bellhop kid, he looks mischievous, like he's up to something, but that's what the guy looked like in the original Coke ad too. I like the bottle, the colors, very happy. And I feel a little bit guilty giving you this clump of rose bush because you're doing all the manual labor here.
Oh, I'm fine with it. It'll make the wife happy. So
happy wife, happy life is what they say. And I get my yard cleaned up a little bit for free. So thanks for that. Sign looks great. Thank you very much, Dave.
we aim to please.
You sure do. So that's it, end of the day. Surprisingly, it was the candy and the food that was the bigger seller today, but we did make enough money to pay for the sign on the side of the building, and I think Dave did a really good job. It's adding a lot of character, it's got a lot of you know, nostalgia to it. And for people driving down the other side of the street, well, heck, they'll have something more to look at. Thank you very much for watching today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you all soon. Bye for now.